Well, hello everybody. You have landed on maybe by accident. I'm not sure. Maybe made a wrong turn on the interweb. But if you did, or welcome. And if you haven't, and you're here for yet another one of our visits, I'd like to welcome you to engagement. So my name is Doug Robbins. I'm also known as Doug the Officiant, as you can see in the bottom corner. And I have a podcast. I have a video podcast, and people say, "Well, Doug, you're a wedding officiant, and you have a video podcast called Engagement. Is it just for people that are engaged, getting married, people that are newlyweds?" And I say, no, heck no. Engagement in the dictionary means to come together, to meet, to have a conversation, and that's what I love to do. I love to talk to people. If you don't know, I kind of have a gift of gab. I like to talk a lot, and I started a video podcast during COVID because, let's face it, I could. And when I thought about, well, what do I want to talk about, or who do I want to talk to, it basically came down to whatever tickled my fancy. So sometimes it's a bit of a potpourri. Sometimes it's a bit of a whiplash from boomerang, because you go from here to there to there. But we always try to have a safe space, interesting conversations, and obviously interesting people to talk to. Recently, we've talked to some phenomenal females. We've highlighted business owners in the Black-owned business culture. We've talked about cocktails, one of my favorite things to talk about. We've talked about pretty much everything. So right now we are doing what we call farm to family. So basically, female entrepreneurs that are leading a business that is bringing things to your table. Maybe not necessarily a farm-based business, but something to your family table. So I'm really excited. We have to get onto the topic because one of our guests has a really tight timeline, and I'll explain that shortly. But first, I want to bring on Jenna. Jenna has a company called Cafezia Coffee, and it's not too far from here. And she's a female entrepreneur, a female leader, and she's in the green room. So, Jenna, how are you?
Hey, Doug. I'm so excited to be here. And you said Cafezia like perfectly. Like
I
you
know, right? I bet you people all the time say to me, "I'm sorry, how do you pronounce that?"
You know what? It's taken me a long time. And some days when I've been saying it all day at events, I even pronounce it wrong. So
That happens. That happens. In your honor, because you have a coffee business, I am drinking a espresso martini, and it's darn fine. So while I sip away on this, tell me about Cafezia Coffee. What makes you different? What do you do, and where you're at?
Yeah, so Cafezia is a science-based coffee, and right now it's kind of hard for people to wrap their head around, but I am like positive that as time goes on, this is going to be the norm. So, as we all know, we love coffee for many reasons. One of the reasons is the caffeine, but for a lot of us, especially as we age, caffeine really affects us in negative ways. And so we have a neuroscientist, a biochemist, and an immunologist who has found a way to slow the release of caffeine in delicious, amazing coffee. So you don't get the jitters, you don't get the anxious energy, you don't get insomnia. You just get clarity and focus for longer without the crash. And a lot of our customers also say it just makes them kind of giddy. Like you just feel happy and full of joy. So
I like giddy.
yeah.
So I know that people are going to ask this question, so I'm just going to, because this is how Uncle Doug does it. I know that these are herb infused. Now people are going to say, well, if I'm feeling giddy, is it because the herbs you're using are, like, you know what I'm thinking?
I know what you're thinking.
Tell us all about it.
Yeah. So there's 3 herbs. It's the same herbs in every single roast that we have: yerba mate, hyssop, and cleavers. And you don't taste them. What they do is they just change the way in which the body metabolizes caffeine. And so those are the herbs. Those are the only herbs we put in it. The other benefit is they lower the acidity. So it doesn't have that bitter aftertaste for people who suffer from like heartburn or gut rot when they drink coffee. None of that. And a lot of people say like this is the only coffee they can drink black.
I happen to be I always say people when I get coffee, they say, how would you like it? I said, just the way God intended it, black. I drink my coffee black. I always have. I mean, there was a time where I did the double double, but that's extremely fattening. And if you're drinking that from probably a drive-through, let me tell you, that's full fat cream, and it's a designer coffee designed to make you know, easy palate on the tongue, and the fat flavors rounding and all of that. It's a science, really. It's just no different than what you do. But drinking it black is definitely the you know, where you get the real coffee flavor, the real ease of it. And yes, nobody wants a bitter coffee. No one wants that. So yours is more well rounded. Tell us what the process. Who, like, do you have someone do this? Is it outsourced? Are
Yeah.
you back there roasting your own coffee beans?
So I'm really lucky that I actually bought the business when it was already doing really well. I came across this product right before the pandemic. I became really good friends with the woman who was running the company. And she was sort of at a point where she wanted to sell it. I was at a point where my other businesses couldn't operate because of the pandemic. And so I was lucky. It was sort of a turnkey process for me. I came into the business. We had all the manufacturing set up. We had retailers already. And so my sort of initiative with this is really just to take it beyond London, where we started, to make it a global brand.
Well, it's neat that it was originally female owned and now it's still female owned. So that's really cool. So I've of course creeped your page and found some coffee pictures. Now, bear in mind that your packaging has evolved, as all good branding should, right? We know that. This is, I think, early on.
Yeah, that's about a year ago at the beach.
Coffee at the beach, hot or cold. This is
This is funny. This is like a family album.
it's
Yeah,
like,
that's
this is your life.
yeah, that's last week. That's at our first retailer that has our new packages on their shelves, and it's a brand new retailer, brand new city, inside you inside Woodstock.
Nice,
Yeah.
nice. This is a photograph of the coffee and the herbs.
Yes.
I don't know which is which, but they look herbaceous, as the phrase is. And I love this one here. This is, of course,
Lots of coffee.
lots of coffee.
Yeah.
So no jitters, no. You still get the effect of. I mean, I know that you're going to get more clarity. Do you still get that sort of morning boost or that midday boost of energy that comes from caffeine?
You do, yeah. What the difference is that it's not overwhelming the nervous system, so you still get the same like heightened senses, but it's not such a rush that it puts your body in a state where it's trying to like level itself out. So yeah, you still get all the things you love about coffee. People always joke, "I love the jitters," but honestly, that's not good for you.
Well, it's slow release. I mean, we eat other foods like whole grains, like in way of bread for carbs, that is slow release in your body. Like oatmeal is a slow release, so you don't crash and burn. So I, on the other hand, I don't crash and burn with coffee. It's definitely intoxicating to me. For those that don't know that coffee beans don't look like this, they actually look like this. They're actually a red and green berry that is then dried and then sorted, graded, then roasted to what's called a crack, first crack, second crack. So they don't look like they don't come off the tree brown and hard and glossy like like you think. This is your new package, which I'm very excited to show.
Yeah.
Very fun, very funky,
Yeah.
very recognizable. So if you see it on the shelves, you know where to get it. Where do people buy your coffee? I'm sure they can buy online, but where else?
Yeah, so we do direct online. We also do a lot of markets, events like that. We also have about 40 retailers now, mostly in the London area. Over the spring and summer, we're moving into Hamilton, Kitchener, Waterloo, Guelph, Cambridge, Toronto, Ottawa, all the GTA. That's kind of our region right now that we're moving into.
Nice. There's also, I mean, this is you all set up at, speaking of, markets and trade shows. Do you have any coming up in the next little while that are that we would know
Yeah,
about? Or
we have two this weekend in Windsor. So we have some Windsor retailers, Fine Herbs Inc. and Brander Farms. So we're going to be doing some sampling there, as well as meeting with potentially new restaurants, cafes, and retailers. We currently are only in two cafes. We're very specific about the vibe. One of the things that's really important to us is to sort of be the anti-hustle of coffee. There's lots of coffee that really bigs up like how intense you'll feel when you drink it and how much to drink. And we don't really want to be that. We want to be a company that helps you return to calm and peace and wellness and mindfulness, connection, community, all those good things you talked about at the beginning. So when it comes to a cafe, we really want that vibe to kind of go along with our coffee.
so I'm always interested to find out how you got to this location, how you got into this business. Like, what, you just didn't pick up the paper and go, "Oh, look, there's a coffee business for sale. I think I'll buy it." Maybe you did. I could be wrong. Tell us how you got to where you're at now.
Yeah, I mean, it seems really irrational and impulsive, but I've been an entrepreneur most of my life. I don't fit very well into structured organizations because of the way that my brain works. And so being an entrepreneur really allows me the freedom to construct my days and my visions and the things that I like to do in a way that is also impactful and valuable. And so I've had a number of businesses before. I'm always trying to explore new things. And it kind of did fall in my lap. And I just thought, you know what? I have no idea how to run a business like this. I've never done packaged goods. I've always been in like the service industry. And so I thought, you know what, this will keep me busy for a long time. I probably won't get bored of this. I'll have a lot of challenges. There'll be a lot of, stress that I'll have to figure out. And for me, that's really what attracted me to it. Obviously the coffee is fantastic. But there's just the dream is bigger than I probably will achieve in my life. And for me, that was kind of what sold me on it. Was this is bigger than I think I know what to do with.
That's not a bad thing to have. I I love the slogan behind you on your banner. Is that something that you started, or is that
Yeah. Yeah.
nice?
So that's really like a part of a much larger thing we want to do, which is build a community outside of just coffee. The whole idea of like be well, be kind, be ever evolving. There's a lot of really important things to me in my own value system around social justice and the environment, inclusion, all these things that I think, you know, are important for me to exercise within a company. And so it felt important to kind of have a division maybe of our company that really focuses on those. So we're currently building a board of really amazing people who are going to help us, make sure that we're living up to this. We're
Nice.
building a community through a QR code on our new packaging.
Oh,
So
cool.
yeah, right now there's not much, but the idea is that every day and every time you make your coffee, you can scan that code, and you'll find yourself on a page where there's something new every time, whether it's a journal prompt or something special with our community members, whether it's a message of the day, but essentially that deeper information and value that can help you live well and be kind and be ever evolving.
I love that. That's a really great idea. That's a super initiative. So I commend you for that. I, of course, did, of course, comb through your social media as I do, bit of a social creep, I suppose. And I saw the very much the be kind, be well kind of placement in equality and diversification. And that's great because you know what? Coffee appeals to all, right?
Yes, I really what I think is so fantastic about the fact that I found myself in a coffee business is that coffee connects all of us. It is the story of us as humans, and I love that from the cherry, from the tree, from the origin of the coffee right to our table with the coffee, it's affecting so many people's lives. And when you look at every place on this planet, coffee has been a part of storytelling and connection and politics and the social movements and I really want to bring people back to that. I really want to bring them back to the roots of coffee with a new sort of like evolution and expansion on what we can do when we come together.
Well, I mean, there are cultures that do what's called a coffee clutch, right? Where they get together, they have coffee, and it's a ritual. And people don't realize it's really very much a ritual to sit down together, from the grinding to the brewing to the enjoying. It's a ritual where they have time to think and calm and meditate, or have good intention. So I think that's a really great connection that you've made there with that. So tell me about your staff. You got big crew, little crew? Is it just you doing everything?
Yeah, it's always evolving. We've been really lucky in that we've had a lot of interns kind of step in at the beginning when I didn't know what I was doing, and they really wanted to, be a part of a company that's just starting up in a new phase. So we've had probably 24 people come and help me within the last year. It's been a year since I've owned this business. We now have people who show up for sampling events, people who help us like with our packaging and our photos, and so we have this this larger crew or group of people that sort of help with specific things. And then just recently have about 2 or 3 women who are going to be helping with more like day-to-day stuff, so that I can focus on more of the community building.
Well, it is a community. You've created a community around coffee beans, and that's not a bad thing. I'll tell you that. There's a lot you can do with coffee. So, tell us your website where we can find you so that people can get over and maybe place an order and get it shipped to you.
Yeah, cafezia.ca. CAFE.
Simple as that.
ZIA.ca. Yeah, we just have a new website to go along with the bag. So if there are any bumps or hiccups on the website, please let us know, because we're learning that too.
Technology is a real fickle one, isn't it?
Yeah.
So coffee is really, really big right now. The other thing that is extremely big and trending for right now in the food industry it's hot sauce. Hot sauces are huge, and I'm really happy to invite in our next guest, who is also a female-led, female-owned entrepreneur when it comes to bringing things to your table, and that is Christie. And Christie is from Halo Heats, and they have a lot going on at Halo Heats. So I'm going to bring Christie in. There you are. How are you?
Hey guys, how's it going?
Good. Halo Heats. There's a lot going on. So I mentioned at the top of the show, we need to get down to it because I tend to ramble too much. And the reason being is because you've got some big stuff going on at 8:00 tonight, and we want to make sure you're off of here and over to there. So we'll talk about that in a minute, because it's kind of a big deal.
Right.
But,
I like what you did there.
Yeah. You know what it is. You and your husband, I've got a picture of you guys here. I'm going to put that up, and I want to give this as well so we know where this is from. So great photo of the two of you. There's a photo credit there for the photographer, who did a fantastic job. I love the effects.
Yeah, this is awesome.
Yeah, awesome. He nailed it on that for you guys. Tell us about Halo Heats, where you're at, what you do, and all that great stuff.
All right. Well, so like you said, Halo Heats is owned and operated by my husband and I. His name is Jeff. We are based in Windsor, and we produce a gourmet, vegan, fermented line of hot sauces. So we just launched September 1st of 2021. So we're very, very new. But we've seen a lot of really early success with the core product line that we've put out so far. So currently available on our website and at all of our retailers. We have 3 flavors. So we have a spicy red pepper, a spicy mango pineapple, and a spicy pickle. And currently right now on our website, we do have a limited edition flavor available right now as well. So our whole concept is we were looking to kind of launch with some sauces that are a little bit not like familiar in the space, but we didn't want to go too crazy out the gate. We wanted to introduce some flavors that would be, received really well. And then, behind the scenes and in development, our whole kind of game plan is to be really creative with the flavors that we put out, and use some ingredients that you don't necessarily see used in hot sauce, or you may never have seen used in hot sauce before. So my husband in particular, he's extremely creative kind of in the kitchen, and so he kind of oversees a lot of the production and the recipe development that we have going on here. Yeah, we just kind of hope to always be releasing kind of new flavors and offering some that are maybe more seasonal, like our spicy cranberry apple that we put out last holiday season. And the one that we have available right now is a spicy olive. And so if, you're a fan of like charcuterie nights and that sort of thing, like that's a sauce that would pair really, really well with that type of cuisine. That might be an experience that you maybe not have had a hot sauce kind of accompany something like that before, but maybe with a hot olive, you might want to give it a try.
I love that. Not only did you launch a hot sauce, but you also launched a baby.
My assistant is right next to me. She is 10 weeks old and not quite pulling her weight so far, but like we'll see how she does.
I love it. I love it. So I've got some shots here of the flavors. This is one. So that's your 3 different sauces. That's your spicy mango, your spicy pickle. That sounds delicious. And your spicy. I love hot sauces. I'm a huge fan of the hot sauce. So I'm gonna have to get down and get some, especially the olive one. I'm also a huge olive fan. So
you know what? I do not like olives. And I think the sauce is delicious. So I don't know. I'm sure you would love it then.
I do. I love pretty much everything olive. I mean, usually if I'm not drinking an espresso martini, it's probably a dirty martini. So
love it.
Yeah. So you'll have to save me one of those bottles so I can come down and get that.
If you're a cocktail guy, our spicy pickle is perfect in Caesars.
I have a picture of that right here. Look at that.
Yeah.
I love that. It's a great way to spice up your Caesar. I mean, us Canadians love a good Caesar.
Exactly.
So how did that happen? You were just mixing up a drink one night and you thought, hey, what the heck?
Well, so actually the spicy pickle was one that we were really wanting to come out with right out the gate. And with the pickle, we even kind of break that down even further. So we don't even use pickles in our recipe. We start with fresh cucumbers. And even to make the sauce as accessible to as many people as possible, we've even broken down pickling spice and removed mustard seeds so that we've removed a common allergen. We're really thoughtful in all of our recipe development. The spicy pickle was one that when we were launching, I think most entrepreneurs can appreciate, we intended to launch Father's Day weekend of 2021, and we didn't launch until September because, of course, hiccups and setbacks, and especially, in the middle of a pandemic, things were a little bit crazy. But the pickle, though, is so awesome. Like, we're coming in on barbecue season now. So, like, for your hot dogs and hamburgers and sausages and all of those things that we enjoy in the summertime so much, it's kind of the perfect, condiment to kind of have on hand.
It's great that you're looking at new ways to use it. I mean, there are some great traditional ways that, of course, we all love, which is, with wings. But to have, and there's more wings, making me hungry. So, but to be able to put it on eggs.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Right? And that's our spicy red pepper there. So that's the flavor, if you're more familiar with using like a Frank's or a Tabasco, like that's a flavor that just goes on absolutely everything. It's delicious on everything from breakfast to dinner. So you really can't go wrong with that sauce. And that's also why that's part of our core product line, is because if you're a fan of hot sauce, you should be pretty good with that one. And then our flavors kind of get a little bit more adventurous from there.
Yeah. So also great on pizza, of course. I mean, that's one way to eat the crust, is to put some hot sauce on it.
That's right.
Right.
That's right.
And one more here. More wings, of course.
More wings.
Love me some wings. So that's awesome. Here's the lineup in the way of whether you want to spice up your cocktails or not. And there's nothing wrong with that at all. Just drink responsibly, folks. But it's a great way to add, a little bit of something to your drink and enjoy it. So
exactly.
I want to talk about the elephant in the room, which is your big news. If people don't know this, I think this is extremely exciting. Your product line has been picked up by a very well-known TV game show, and you're going to watch the 7 o'clock or the 8 o'clock show of this.
Exactly.
And for those who don't know, it's Let's Make a Deal.
Let's Make a Deal. Yeah, Let's Make a Deal. The production team reached out to us last November, very end of November. They found our brand online and they really loved the look of it. They loved that our product was in a squeeze bottle, which, there are some others on the market, but it's not nearly as common within the industry. They really liked our branding. They kind of liked what we were all about. And the show itself, they did share that they do like to support small businesses as well. So yeah, they reached out to us and found us and asked if we wanted to have a product feature on the show. I'm sorry, my little one's going to be
your assistant.
My assistant, here she is. So yeah, they reached out to us and they requested our product to feature in one episode. So we, sent some product out to California and they filmed an episode with it. And then they ended up really liking the product so much that they used it in 2 subsequent episodes. So we kind of got 3 episodes out of the deal. Yeah, our final episode airs in just over half an hour on CBS. So if anybody wants to check it out and tune in to Let's Make a Deal, you'll be seeing, as far as we know, we've been told our episode is airing tonight. So
nice. That's pretty incredible. That's a great call to be getting your product is going to be on there. So
absolutely, so cool.
I love the whole. I mean, I have a soft spot obviously for female entrepreneurs, especially. But the balancing act of business and baby is on point tonight. So
the balancing act is very real. Yes, this is motherhood in 2022.
So I've got some questions for the two of you I want to talk about. You guys are both female entrepreneurs in business. It's I've heard the story about, it's harder to be a female entrepreneur. You got to, do everything a guy does, but wear stiletto heels at the same time and look pretty and all that. So how has business been for you guys getting into entrepreneur gears and doing your entrepreneur ways? So I'm going to start with Jenna.
Yeah, I mean, this is sort of all I know. But I think over like the last 10, 12 years, as I've been doing this, you just sort of elevate the things that you're good at. So instead of focusing on being a woman or being a man or anything related to gender, I just try to shine where I'm good at. And if it's a fit, it's a fit. And from situations where I was someone I wasn't. And sometimes maybe because I'm a woman, maybe because of the things I try to shine, like it doesn't work out for me. But that's okay. I always remind myself, people I work with, that there's, 8 billion people on this planet. I don't need all of them to work with me or like our business. And I think, to stay in business, especially when it feels like there's things made against you, it's just really important to be yourself and to keep checking in with yourself to see, like, did I show up as me today, or was I trying to show up as someone more masculine, or someone use these things to maneuver things. So I think for me, that's what's kept me sane and okay with myself, which is really long-term what's important.
Absolutely. It's more important to be okay with yourself. That's the important part. So, Christie, I'm going to go to you. I think you're mute. There you go.
I'm just trying
Look
to
at you. You unmuted yourself and you bounced the baby. That's phenomenal. So how are you finding female entrepreneurship, providing, a food product to the public?
My husband and I, we really do operate as a really good team. So it is the two of us, but I do find that a lot of people are just kind of so, I don't want to say like welcoming, because we certainly have, every right to be in the space and doing our thing. When we're, at the farmer's market and things like that, and I'm working the booth and things, it's very well received, and people are, very happy to see just people who are passionate about what they're doing, I think, regardless of who the person is. And Jeff and I are passionate about what we do, and we care about the products that we put out and the amount of love and time and effort that we put into creating something that we think is really special. And so I think that regardless of who's producing it, people can definitely see that that's come through, and they appreciate that. They appreciate all the care that goes into a small brand.
And as well they should, because small brands feed a lot of people. They employ a lot of people. They do a lot. So that's excellent. With everyone complaining right now, of course, with delivery chains and demands on those delivery chains, you guys are delivering right to your neighbors, right to your community, right to your town or city, or FedExing or UPSing or percolating to cities all around you. So how has your business how's it gone? What's it look like? Are we on the upwards swing? Are we on the downward swing? Or are we just sort of where we're at, it's where we're at. So Jen, I'm going to go with you first.
Yeah, I mean, you can only pretend that these changes aren't happening for so long until it really takes your profit and you have to adjust. So we've just gotten really creative, especially with delivering door to door. Like, one of the things I think that's really helped our business is that personal touch of someone ordering and like us showing up, like sometimes like minutes or within the hour of when they ordered, with like a little note and their name. That definitely has like established a stronger rapport. But with gas prices and just like the distance now we're driving, we've partnered up with another local coffee business that's already out there that has way more customers, and is seeing every side of the city. And so we've just, when they go out for their deliveries, they take ours too. So that's one thing we've been looking at. We have an intern whose like primary thing is to figure out like, how are we going to ship to people across the country without charging them the same amount for shipping as a bag of coffee costs. And so right now we're really just eating a lot of our profits. And in some cases we're losing money to get customers. And that's just where we're at, because we don't have a solution, and we're hoping that we'll find one. And maybe, once we're in retailers across the country, people can switch to that instead of ordering online. But I think that's part of growing your business, is if you are in it for the long run, sometimes you lose money in the beginning to try and establish those relationships and do what you have to do. And so that is kind of where we're at.
Well, you do what you got to do. That's exactly right. So, Christie, what about you?
I mean, I can kind of echo some of Jenna's sentiments there. It's definitely, especially with, like she said, the rising cost of fuel and things like that, getting our products to where they need to be is more expensive than, we kind of hoped it would be. As far as like shipping locally, like we do all of our own deliveries to all of our local retailers. Luckily, the retailers that we have further away are, purchasing bigger quantities at a time. So it's a little bit more cost effective for them that way. But yeah, it's certainly, it's definitely a struggle for sure. And especially when retailers from further away are contemplating whether or not they're going to bring your product into their store at all. That's a huge consideration that they have to make right now. So
yeah.
So
there was two questions that I didn't ask Christie. One I'm dying to know is, how did you end up in the hot sauce business?
Sure. Well, my hubby, before we met, he had previously owned a hot sauce company. And that was something that kind of happened by accident, but it was more of a hobby for him. It was just, a product that he made that friends enjoyed, and they asked him to bottle it and sell it to them. And he ended up with it at farmers markets and into some local retailers as well. But after he and I met, because it was kind of a hobby, we had other things to focus on. And so we kind of put that business to bed. And during COVID, we kind of got the idea to get it started again. But since we kind of had the time while the world was shut down, we decided to, rather than bring back the brand that he had built and established before, we decided to build something a lot more intentional. So everything from, we renamed the business, we rebranded everything, we redeveloped all of the recipes, and obviously created new ones. And so unlike his previous line of sauces that he had before, everything that we produce now is fermented. We don't use any added sugar. We don't use any vinegar, no additives or preservatives. We're using all fresh ingredients with, vegetables that are sourced as locally as possible. So everything we do is very, very intentional. But that is how we got started. It was just, we decided to, kind of bring back something that Jeff had done previously. And he's been an entrepreneur for a long time, and I brought in a different skill set as well from my past experience. So we kind of just decided to make a go of it together this time.
That's awesome. So one thing that I find very interesting, and this is probably TMI, way too much information, is that I love hot sauce. I've always been a huge fan. I probably have at least 4 or 5 different types in my fridge right now.
Yeah.
I think all of them are basically vinegar based.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I like to put it on. I like to enjoy my hot sauce. I mean, I don't want to, it's not there to burn off the taste buds of my tongue, but
right.
The vinegar in them tends to react sweaty head in Uncle Doug.
Okay.
Right.
Well, then I am excited for you to try Halo Heats then, my goodness.
Yeah, because you don't have vinegar in it.
Exactly. And all of our sauces too, like none of the sauces that we produce are so hot that you can't enjoy them. So there are, different companies out there that are producing products that are meant to be like the hottest sauce on the market. And, to use if you're having a fun little like chicken wing eating contest with your buddies and you want to see who's tougher. That's not what we're trying to do. So all of our sauces, they are hot sauces, but they're certainly not the hottest ones that you're going to find. We're all about being, about bold, beautiful flavors first. Heat is definitely secondary for us. And that's why we put a lot of care and a lot of thought into the recipes and that sort of thing.
I'm definitely going to try yours because I want to also celebrate the bold flavors as opposed to, I've done the heat. I've tried one called the bomb. Where
I won't go there.
Yeah, I did just the tip of a toothpick. When it approached my lips, gave me the hiccups without even.
And that's the thing. If you're enjoying it on the tip of a toothpick, that's a one-time purchase. We want you to be buying Halo Heats over and over again, right? So we want you to be able to use more than that.
Absolutely. So, you guys had your questions in advance, but I'm gonna ask a sideline question that you're not aware of. What would you say to, the 15-year-old entrepreneur female that may have been you or someone else, back in the day? If you could roll back to speak to the 15-year-old Jenna or the 15-year-old Christine about entrepreneurship as an entrepreneur, male, female, or otherwise, I don't care. But what would you have said to them? I'm going to go to Jenna first.
Yeah, I would just say, tell everybody what your big dream is and ask for help. Like, just ask everybody for help because people love to help. And I think that, on every entrepreneurial journey I've had, I'll meet people along the way and I'll think like, why didn't I source out these people? They were so helpful when I finally had the courage or bumped into them or something like that. And especially, other female entrepreneurs, they want to help each other. They want to help each other navigate this journey, make it easier. They understand the complexities of maybe like what's expected of us, especially if we have like a family at home or other things that we're navigating. And I would just say ask for help and tell, and part of that is telling everyone what you want to achieve, because it's amazing how many times you tell someone something that you might have a problem with and they're like, oh, I know a person. And then there you go. You've already, done way more than Google could ever do for you.
And Christie.
Love everything you said, Jenna. That's absolutely true. I would probably also say to my younger self, like the to-do list that you start with in the morning is not going to be the actual list that you get to tackle during the day. Just be ready to just handle curveballs. Like that's what you do all day. Nothing that you set out to do is going to go according to plan. There's going to be hiccups and you're going to become more than anything else, just a professional problem solver. That is just what you do. And be prepared to be like, a jack of all trades and an expert at none. So you're going to be doing everything from product development to marketing, to sales, to distribution, to just everything under the sun imaginable before you have the resources and, the cash flow to be able to build that team. It's going to be you. And first and foremost as well, before any of that, if you are going to set out on that adventure, you best be passionate about the thing that you're building or what you're creating or the product that you're trying to develop. Because if you aren't loving what you're doing when you wake up every single day, trust me, you're working a lot more than 40 hours a week when you work for yourself. So if you want to be enjoying your day with as many curveballs that come your way and with, as many setbacks and things that you can't control, but yet you somehow have to find a way to control them, you best be really, really excited about what you're doing.
Well said.
Absolutely.
And I'm going to let that be the last word because I think that both of you have really good head on your shoulders and said it well. So hang on tight while I say good night to these folks. And folks, there you have it. Another pair of female, farm to family entrepreneurs that are doing some really great things in the community. Look them up. Try local, buy local, eat local, enjoy local, and share local. So until next time, we'll talk to you soon. Thanks for coming to Engagement.